A multi-million-dollar settlement is reached 3 years after a big apartment fire in Northeast Atlanta. More than 200 former tenants are getting nearly $9 million as part of the settlement with the owners of the Reserve at La Vista Walk. The lawsuit claimed property managers knew about issues with the fire suppression system and failed to stop people from setting off fireworks on the roof. That's what investigators say sparked that fire in 2023. 2 people were charged with arson.